How's it going, everyone? My name is Derek Afasi. I'm the owner of Afasi Financial Group. In today's topic, I want to discuss with you private pensions and what are private pensions, and essentially how could someone obtain a private pension for their retirement plan or their, retirement income planning goals. So first, let's take a step back and try to figure out what exactly a pension is and how a pension is offered, and then how to essentially leverage your existing dollars, whether that be in cash, whether that be in retirement accounts, to then create a private pension plan for that same sorts of benefits that that an employer sponsored pension plan gives you. What happens is, the example I'll use is my grandfather. My grandfather was an elevator mechanic in the city of New York. And what happened was he was working for a company for X amount of years. It was about 20, 30 years. And what was happening was every year that he was working was kind of notching off another year on his belt to get closer to his full maxed out pension income benefit. So what a pension plan is it's known as a defined benefit plan. It's a defined benefit retirement account. You have something that might be known as a defined contribution plan, like a 401k account. A defined benefit plan means that you're working for a company, and after you cease work, after you cease employment, after you retire, they're going to give you a defined benefit, a defined income stream for either you or you and your spouse, or for a set duration of time, after you suffice those years. So in his case, I believe it was 20 or 30 years that he was working for the city. He was working overtime. I was able to accumulate more and more and more of his income benefit. So he ended up retiring when he was in his 50s. And at that point in time, when he retired, the city said, "Hey, listen, because you gave us all these years of service, now we're essentially going to spit you off a set stream of income for you." This is actually a really, kind of funny story. Was my my grandfather expected to live a long time, so he came home and he had his little pension form with him, and filled it out, and he said he was going to choose option A. And option A means that it was going to be on a single life only option for him, meaning that all the money that's going to be the most maxed out benefit, it was only going to go to him. Once he passed away, then all that income would stop. Well, while walking out the door, my grandmother stopped him, asked him what was in his hand, and realized that he chose option A and not option B. Well, option B gave them, both him and her, lifetime income for when he passes away. Then she would still be receiving income for the rest of her life. So therefore, they give a reduced benefit there. Now, with that pension option, this is the same sorts of options that you have on the private pension side as well. So he ended up passing away at the age of 69. She ended up passing away in her late 80s, where she was able to then receive all those extra years of benefit, years of benefit, years of benefit. Now, unfortunately, pension plans are not offered as often as they once were. You used to be able to take pride in your job, work for your company, whether that was a private institution or a public institution, as a city, a state, whatever that was, and you understood as long as you gave X amount of years of service, you would receive a set income stream. At that later date and time, and that income stream will go to you for the rest of your life, or yours and your spouse's life. Unfortunately, there was a shift in how retirement plans were structured, and that set duration of income that entity, that employer was guaranteeing to the individual, puts too large of a risk on that employer. So therefore, they started transferring that risk from a defined benefit plan into a defined contribution plan. Hence why you have 401k accounts, you have 403b accounts, you have 457 accounts, all these different things that say, okay, we're going to define that you could contribute into a retirement plan, kind of like a retirement bucket, but dependent upon how well that bucket is going to gain with with the amount of money you're placing in there, and whatever that rate of return is that's tied to that mutual fund account that's linked to that 401k account or whatever that retirement account is, that's what's going to determine whether or not you're going to have a large bucket by the time you retire or a small bucket by the time you retire. The problem with doing the defined contribution plans is individuals don't really know how much money to pull out once they hit their 60s. Once they hit, they're in their early 60s, 65, 70, whatever that is, they don't know how much money to pull out. And a lot of times people pull out too much money because they're trying to supplement that income that is no longer there because they're no longer working. And they run this well dry. They run out of money before they pass away, and now they're subject to either being forced to go back into work, or they're only subject to Social Security income as their main source of income. So with this video, I want you to understand that you could take defined contribution plans such as 401k accounts or IRA accounts or 403b accounts or just regular cash accounts. If you sold a home, you sold a business, you could take portions of those retirement accounts and roll them over into specifically designed IRA contracts that provide private pension benefits through lifetime income riders that would go to you or would go to you and your spouse. So that's one of the main things, that first off, understand that it is possible for you to have a private pension plan even if you're not offered a pension plan through work. And unfortunately, 80 to 90% of individuals are not offered pension plans through their employer. One, because it's too risky on the employer's book, so they would rather the employee take all that risk through these defined contribution plans and therefore get rid of those defined benefit plans, get rid of those pension plans. So how exactly can someone obtain a private pension plan or a sort of IRA contract that offers those lifetime income benefits? And that's something through the form of insurance companies. They offer these things, and they do it through the form of different types of annuities. So you could have different annuities that work really well if you know that you're going to turn on income in 5 years. Like let's say if you're 60 years old and you say, okay, I have this money in a bucket. I want to essentially take my 401k account, transfer it over to an IRA account that's going to provide me lifetime income at age 65. Well, then there's a specifically designed private pension IRA contract through an insurance company that works really well for a 5-year deferral and then lifetime income in exactly 5 years. Or you might have another one where you have an old 401k and you're in your 40s or you're in your early 50s. And you just want to make sure that that old 401k is preserved, protected, and this old 401k could then result in a lifetime income at a later date, whether you're in your early 60s or in your early 70s. Well, then that would be a longer deferred type of IRA private pension plan. So there's many different ways to skin that cat. The most important thing is to understand, yes, this is possible, but you want to also tread lightly, making sure that you're not making a common mistake of just going into it blindly. You don't just want to go to a random advisor, a random firm and say, hey, well, listen, I want to have something that gives me max income or lifetime income, and have that agency or have that financial institution only being able to offer you one option. That's where we come in, and we're very powerful with dealing with individuals, especially with safe accumulation and retirement income planning, because we help them find the correct IRA pension plans or non-qualified private pension plans set up directly through insurance carriers that will offer all these benefits. So just like the story with my grandfather and my grandmother, if my grandfather, let's say he was 60 years old and he had $500,000 in a 401k account, well, he didn't have a pension plan. Let's say if he would have decided to try to take it out $50,000 per year, he would have ran that well dry within 10 years. And this is what happens: is a lot of individuals, they try leaving their money in mutual funds and leaving their money at risk with the market, and they still have to pay those mutual fund related fees. If they're utilizing traditional financial advisors, they have to pay advisor fees. They still have that potential for downward market loss, and they're also trying to pull income from this account. So those are 4 major negatives that severely impact that retirement bucket, hence what makes it so difficult for individuals to not outlive their money. So what a private pension plan would specifically design IRA contracts, specifically design non-qualified contracts, private pension plan contracts set up through insurance companies, the benefits that they could provide is that peace of mind, that peace of mind in retirement, that you're receiving max cash flow, you're going to receive a paycheck every month, every year, however you design it, and that will go to your life or yours and your spouse's life for the end. With my situation, with my grandparents' situation, my grandfather passed away at age 69. My grandmother still lived for almost 20 extra years. If my grandfather would have walked out the door and chose option A with his life-only option, all that income would have stopped. She would have been left with just Social Security income. Because he chose option B and because he had that joint income, it was much more powerful. You could set up those same exact things, and you have specifically designed contracts, private pension contracts, that work really well for an individual that's age 50 or 57 or 62. But the worst thing you could do is go into it blindly. We represent something known. We have a a specifically designed platform. It's known as the Retire Sharpe Planning System. And this is proprietary only to a Fosse Financial Group. No other agencies can use this. And what it allows us to do is sift through all the different contracts in your area, specific to your age, specific to your goals, that would work out the best for your scenario. So what we do is we scale through all those 300 plus different contracts. Then we utilize proprietary income strategies to make sure that on average, whenever an individual calls in, we go through over 1,200 different scenarios before we give our top 3 recommendations, and then we sift through the pros and cons of each 3 of those recommendations. The reason being is because we want to make sure that we're an independent agency. We're not have to be handcuffed to one company over the next. We're able to work specifically for the client and give the best recommendations specifically for the client. If company XYZ is going to be the best company for you and the best contract for you, we're going to recommend that over company ABC. So this is one of the reasons why we have a large volume that comes into our office. It has to be specific on your age, specific on the dollar amount you want to see, specific on the state that you're currently residing in, that is issuing those contracts. And this is why we do have a lot of national recognition, a lot of national volume. We are A+ rated on the Better Business Bureau. If you found value in this video, please feel free to give us a call, 1-800-566-1002. Ask to speak with a private pension specialist, and they'll ask you a slew of questions. And most importantly, you need to become educated on what's the pros, what's the cons, whether or not this would even be a fit for your specific situation. And that's one of the things that we take pride in, is making sure that we're educating you guys and really helping you out the best way possible. So feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Retire Sharpe, so you get access to the most updated videos. And I want to thank you very much for watching this video. Thanks, guys.